Since we had so much fun making our own hand-poured silver rounds, I thought, why not pour some gold? Hey everybody, it's Rob with Rob Finds Treasure, and in one of my last videos I talked about how I poured some of my own silver rounds, took some of my old 925 sterling silver jewelry, poured a couple of rounds. I'm going to end up marrying these two rounds together. They were practice rounds, my first and second one ever poured, so I figured I'll make them into one 2-ounce round. But for many years I used to pan gold in California, and I've got some gold. Some cold, hard gold that I panned out of Sonoma, California, in the rivers out there in Sonoma County. I did this over a couple of years, maybe 2.5 years when I was into that. And if I recall, we've got 2 ounces in this vial and an ounce or so in this vial. It might be a little over 2 ounces here, but we're going to test that today. I know that these weigh about 0.3 ounces a piece. They're like 0.34 to tell you the truth. And we're going to go ahead and weigh these up. So we know we got to deduct. There's going to be 2 vials, so we got to deduct about 0.7 off that. And that comes out to 3.7 ounces of gold minus the 0.7 in the vials. So about 3 ounces. What I'm hoping is that I'll go ahead and get this melted today and produce a 3-ounce gold round. This is placer gold, so it could assay at anywhere between, I guess, 14 to 24 carats, but I think it's on the higher end, so you can take a look there. It looks really good. I've done my best to make sure that I've only selected my best quality gold. I do have probably another 5 or 10 nuggets that are kind of bigger, but they have a lot of quartz in them, so I don't really want to touch those. We've got a couple of nice nuggets in here too that I was debating on not melting down or smelting down because they're so nice. But I'm not doing anything with this. I would rather melt it into a round and then get it assayed and find out what the true carat is and go from there. Hopefully we're going to get something good out of this. Hopefully when I melt it down and use some flux, there isn't a lot of quartz inside some of these nuggets. There's a lot of flakes at the bottom here, so that's good news. But curious to see how it goes. I'm probably not going to film a lot of the prep work in this video because I am not a qualified professional. You know, I don't want to worry about talking about safety equipment and safety measures and things like that. But what I will do is I'll take some shots of me heating it up and I'll try to record the actual pour. But again, this is not a how-to video. This is just me showing you my attempt at pouring a gold round. Just flat out embarrassing. I think it's too much gold. Big old slag. All right, guys, you saw the failures. I wanted to show you once again. I didn't even melt the second vial. I took the smaller vial, and I ended up, because I couldn't get it in one pour, and I think 2 things are the problem. One, my torches aren't getting hot enough, or they're getting hot enough just to get it to melt, but then it's if I can get them out of here. But then it's not, there you go. But then it's not keeping it hot enough as I pour. So I'm gonna need to get a real crucible, one that is contained. That way I can keep it hot and I can let it get almost boiling and then pour it. The second thing is I noticed that when I season my crucible, that if I had too much impurities in the gold, it took forever to heat up and it took forever to burn off, even with flux added. So I think what I need to do is take it in small batches, pour it in tiny little nuggets like this size right here. You can even see some of this flux still coming off. It's like a glassy little substance right there. That's the flux taking off any impurities. But I will show you, from what I can tell, this gold got really pure in a hurry. You probably can't tell in this lighting as much, but to the naked eye, there you go. The top is kind of brown because it has quartz and other impurities in it, and probably even some dirt stuck to it. Whereas the bottom is now been melted and melted and melted. We even tried to put it in a bar, as you can see, but we got a shoe out of it. Looks like the shoe or the iron on the Monopoly game, right? Kind of looks like a colonial slipper from the top view and a colonial slipper or the iron from the Monopoly game. But anyway, I went ahead and just poured little tiny pieces because I wanted to be able to fit it back in the vial. But we learned. So I think tomorrow I'm going to focus on making smaller batches and trying to get some rounds in a smaller scale. If I can get it to pour, I might have to go with a quarter or half ounce just so that I can do that. Now that I've done it, now that we've got burned off the impurities and took the flux and had it take them away, I'm curious to see what our weight loss is. Let's take a look. Didn't even register any weight loss. You know, we only used the smaller, that was only 1.1 to begin with. And this one was 2.6. So I would imagine when we do this larger vial, we'll probably have some loss. Maybe we'll get down to 3.5 ounces. I thought we'd lose more. I really thought we'd lose more. Mind you, 0.6 is going to come off, 0.7 is going to come off of these. So we'll probably be just under. So despite doing what we did, we didn't lose any weight. All we did was make it more pure. You probably see it better in this lighting now. Actually, that's the right lighting. Look at that. Look how much more pure the gold is now that we've refined it a couple of times. Looks good though. Looks really good. So I'm excited to at least do the same process with that tomorrow. I'm thinking that this right here, that's looking like 24 karat. We still got a little bit of that. There it is right there. A little bit of that flux right there I got to break off. I'm going to do that now because that's bugging me. And there you go. The flux is fixed. Anyway, we'll bring you back in tomorrow after I refine this gold and melt those silver bars together. All right, guys, we've taken the 3 ounces of gold and we've melted it into, or refined it. I wanted to get all the quartz out of it, any of the clay or the dirt or the mud or the other rocks that kind of form with the gold nuggets. And we got 3.0 ounces on the nose as predicted. Just a bunch of little pieces that I melted just so that I could work with it at a later date when I get a better furnace. I'll tell you, anything more than 3/4 of an ounce to an ounce of gold, it's really hard to keep it hot with just a flame torch. Even though I'm using Matte Pro gas, it doesn't matter. It gets hot enough to melt it, but it can't keep it hot enough to pour it, especially when it's more than 3/4 of an ounce. So I made a whole bunch of little tidbits in here, all kinds of different pours. And then there are some times I would pour it and there'd be a little left in the crucible, so I'd re-pour it. I could probably refine this again and make it into 6 half-ounce pieces, which I might do. I might do that, but I didn't film it because, quite honestly, I couldn't get a good pour with the materials that I have. I'll probably need to invest in a little tiny 2-torch furnace. If I have that, I'm pretty sure I could pour 1 3-ounce gold round. But I'll tell you, man, it cleaned up a lot. This is pretty nice stuff here. I'm really excited about how it came out. I love the weight of gold in my hands. I mean, this is 3 ounces right here. just in this little tiny $1/2 vial. And if it had been melted down to a solid block or a brick, it would be about half as high as it is. I didn't want to melt these two original bars together. The more I thought about it, I thought, you know what, that's my first and second sterling silver bar ever poured. I don't really want to mess with them. I thought about making into one, but you know what? Man, it's my first and second. I think I'm going to keep it as is. Maybe I'll use this smaller piece as a giveaway when I hit 10,000 subs. It's pretty nice, pretty heavy. And then I took my 12 worst 40% $1/2. And I'm talking these were hammered out, scratched, burnt. You barely could make out a date if you could. They were corroded, deteriorated. I just wanted to see what would happen if I didn't refine it. In other words, I didn't use nitric acid to pull the silver out. I just melted the coins, used a little flux to get rid of any contaminants. And I wanted to show you what it looks like. Obviously, 40% silver compared to 92.5 is quite different. You know, the bottoms came out pretty silvery because silver is heavier than copper. So the bottoms came out okay. They look really silvery on the bottom, but as you move up it gets more of the copper on top. And I could probably polish this off and make it look a lot better, but I just wanted to see what it would look like if I did that. You can definitely see the copper tint to it, but why wouldn't you, since it's made up of a lot of copper as well. Anyway, that was just a little fun experiment. Obviously, I can handle 2 to 3 ounces with silver, but anything more than 1/2 to 3/4 of an ounce, maybe an ounce of gold, it just gets too hard to keep it hot enough to pour for my setup. Like I said, I'll be giving this another go. Silver, no problem. Gold, I got to work on my process here, but I'm new at this, and any tips or advice for those hand-poured silver or gold pourers out there, I'd love it. Hopefully you enjoyed this hand-poured video. I wanted to show you where we start, so as we get better at it, you'll see better quality. I'm learning as I go. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting, and thanks for watching.